I think it goes without saying that the Project 91 entry has been a complete success. Not just in terms of being a cool piece of marketing, or enabling famous drivers from other racing disciplines to compete in the series, but as it turns out, it's also pretty successful on the track itself. After the iconic drive of Shane Van Gisbergen in Chicago, it got me thinking of other drivers who would potentially be cool additions to that particular car. This list is based almost entirely on fantasy, but I have limited myself into picking one driver from each major racing discipline, i.e. one from the F1 world, one from IndyCar, one from endurance sports car racing, etc. So without any more delaying, let's go through the names that I've chosen. First off, Daniel Ricciardo. Out of all the choices, I reckon this is the one that is most likely to happen. At the moment, he seems to have a rather free calendar, which is always helpful in making these sort of things work logistically. However, I think the greater indication of a Project 91 entry for him is his sheer passion for the series, which he's not hidden away from keeping a secret. Driving Dale Earnhardt's legendary number 3 at COTA a couple of years ago, along with saying that Dale was his motorsport idol, and was why he raced with the number 3 wherever he could in his racing endeavours. Which I imagine is not the usual sort of person that inspires many of the other current crop of Formula 1 drivers. Recently, Jenson Button said at a press conference during the Chicago event, "I think we all know, Daniel is a big fan of NASCAR. Maybe we'll get him in a car in the next couple of years." Now this is very much possible on the basis that Daniel Ricciardo is now connected to the Ford brand, with the company working with Red Bull on supplying engines in 2026 in Formula 1. The only issue is that the Project 91 car is a Chevrolet, which may be a slight hurdle to overcome. However, like I said, the Red Bull-Ford partnership doesn't begin until 2026, and I don't think a one-off or part-time entry in the 91 car will be of too much irritation to Ford prior to that year. From the world of IndyCar, it's Helio Castroneves. This entry has been, at least publicly, the most talked about collaboration between Project 91 and another driver from another series. Obviously, we all know Helio's exploits when it comes to IndyCar, the Indy 500 and IMSA. However, he does have stock car experience, not just in the form of the recently created SRX series, but also in the category that the SRX series based itself upon, IROC. So clearly, Helio is interested in stock car racing. Plus, he recently said that he was in conversations to try and compete in the Daytona 500. However, about a month before this year's race, Helio ruled out any chance of racing in it. As for the prospects of racing in the series next year with the Project 91 car, I would put this one as relatively high on the prospect of it happening, particularly on the basis that Helio has won an SRX race, which meant the series CEO would try and find him a seat in the NASCAR Cup Series, given that Helio is apparently keen on making a start. Plus, I personally reckon that Helio might not be as busy in IndyCar next season, giving him more chances to find a date to race in the Project 91 entry, although it is equally possible he'll race in a different car to the Project 91 entry. Now this next name is probably not one you're expecting, plus the chances of this happening are probably percentage-wise in the minus numbers. However, I wanted to mention this person because I think it would be awesome to see a one-off entry for this guy, Matt Neal. If you don't know, Matt is a 3-time British Touring Car Champion, but in many ways, that's not the reason I'm picking him. It's his aggressive, no-nonsense approach to racing that I think would suit him down to a T in the NASCAR world. He is always keen to pull off late-braking moves, isn't put off by rubbing fenders with his competitors, and has no qualms about going for gaps that look as though they don't exist, and somehow pulling them off. Although some would argue that he makes it a habit of creating gaps that initially don't exist. I think he would thrive in the Project 91 entry. He even has stock car experience, racing in the UK-based NASCAR series as a guest driver, and has also raced in the V8 supercars as well. Now in reality, this is probably never going to happen. Matt hasn't raced for a little while since he took a sabbatical in 2021, plus I think the bigger issue is that in America, he's pretty much a complete unknown, with the BTCC not being widely available in the States. He may be a big name in the UK, however, that just isn't going to cut it. He's just not a superstar name that would suit the Project 91 seat. I'd love to see this happen at least once, but this one is more just wishful thinking more than anything else. Also, I'd like to send my condolences to Matt and his friends and family after his father Steve, who ran a successful Team Dynamics BTCC outfit, passed away recently. Again, this is another name that is highly unlikely to happen, however I thought I'd throw this name out there. From the world of sports car racing, Nick Tandy. Now in terms of name recognition, particularly in the US, he'll be much more familiar than someone like Matt Neal. I'm not saying he's Elio or Daniel level popular, however given how he's raced in IMSA for ages in Porsches, especially now he's in the GTP car, along with having raced for Corvette for a couple of seasons, he's in a much better position in that respect. Also, someone who raced with Nick in Porsche sports car programs, Earl Bamber, has had a NASCAR start to his name in the Xfinity series. I wonder if Earl ever talked to Nick about whether that would be something he'd be interested in doing. Plus, given how he's raced for Corvette in the past, it probably wouldn't be too alien for Nick to rejoin the Chevrolet family for a one-off race for the Project 91 car. I reckon Nick would do pretty well given an opportunity as well. I'm not saying he'd win on his debut, but I still think he'd surprise a lot of people. Finally, and this one really is the most bonkers one of the lot, from the rallying world, Kalle Rovanperä. This is never going to happen, I'd imagine. Especially seeing how rallying isn't a massive sport in the US, and the WRC isn't all that well known over there either. However, I think this would be awesome to see. We've seen how talented Kalle is behind the wheel of a rocket ship that can be a rocket ship on all surfaces. But he also has the addition of having a diverse racing portfolio that has recently extended to drifting. NASCARs are a different kettle of fish, yet I don't think that would particularly faze Kalle whatsoever. He seems willing to give different motorsport disciplines a crack. Would NASCAR be one of them in the Project 91 entry? Probably not, but one can always imagine, right? Plus, Kalle does drive a Toyota in the WRC, so maybe there are some ties he could rely upon. I mean, as ties go, they're about as vague as they get, plus that doesn't help him when it comes to the Project 91 Chevrolet. However, I thought it would be cool to put his name in this list and see what you guys think. That though is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Who do you think has a shot of being in the Project 91 entry? Or rather, which drivers would you like to see in that car? Say your thoughts in the comment section down below. However, until the next video, be kind to each other and enjoy the rest of your day.